Hello everyone, JW Publisher here. About 12 years ago or so when I started doing JW videos, there was a book that was being removed from most of the Kingdom Hall libraries. And it's this little book here, little purple book called the Kingdom Interlinear Translation of the Greek Scriptures. And this is a Watchtower publication, published in 1969, the copy I have. And in the preface here, it says, this is a word-for-word interlinear translation and the New World Translation arranged parallel on the page so that comparisons can be made between the two readings and the accuracy of any modern translation can be determined. Well, therein lies the problem, because the reader could easily look at the Greek, the literal Greek, and then see how the New World Translation corrupted the scriptures by adding words and changing the meanings to fit Watchtower doctrine. So I don't know if there was any official letters sent out or from the governing body, but I'm thinking there must be some documentation because it was kind of a systematic withdrawal of these books from the Kingdom Hall library. So if any of you have any documentation on that, I'd love to see it. So you could mention it in the comments if you would, if you know of any documentation where these were where the word came out from above to remove these from the library. You can find the interlinear translation on jw.org now if you search for it on their online library, but you'll find that it's just the word-for-word literal Greek without having the New World Translation right near it, next to it. So you can't easily, you'd have to have your New World Translation out as you're looking at the online version to see, to make the comparison. So this made it much easier, could be carried with you, and it became very problematic. And so the younger generation of JWs don't know about this book. If you show this to them, they'd shake their heads. In fact, I heard one account of where the JW thought that this had been faked, even when shown the copyright in the beginning that shows that it was published by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. There are several problems in this book also that caused the Watchtower to want it out of the Kingdom Hall libraries. And another problem is the divine name. And in the foreword here, towards the end, the Watchtower the New World Bible Translation Committee put a paragraph in here: while inclining to view the pronunciation Yahweh as the more correct way, we have retained the form Jehovah because of the people's familiarity with it since the 14th century. Moreover, it preserves equally with other forms the four letters of the Tetragrammaton, and they say it's JHVH. It's actually YHWH, and that's why Yahweh is the more correct way. So when the Jehovah's Witnesses place such emphasis on the true name of God, and they have Watchtower magazines, and you read their publications, and it's what is God's true name, and we call him Jehovah. Well, this book actually refutes that and says the true name of Jehovah, the true name of God, should be Yahweh. So that's and so the reason really isn't what they just said here. The reason they didn't go with Yahweh. The first edition of this was published in 1950, and the reason they didn't go with Yahweh is in 1931, Judge Rutherford at a huge convention announced that the Bible students, the international Bible students, have a new name, and it's the Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, and from then on, they had a huge publication campaign of Jehovah's Witnesses proclaim the good news. And so in 1950, they couldn't go back and say, well, Judge Rutherford was wrong. So the real reason for using Jehovah is because for 20 years, they'd been calling the organization Jehovah's Witnesses, and they couldn't change it. So they had to go with this little statement that it actually is more familiar, so we're going to go with that. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that the interlinear pointed out was that words were added to the scriptures to match Jehovah's Witness doctrine, and one of the most obvious is in Colossians, where the Apostle Paul says that Jesus created all things. And the actual literal Greek says it would in him was created all things in the heavens and upon the earth, the things visible and the things invisible. And so the Watchtower Translation Committee, the New World Translation Committee, added the word all other things because the Jehovah's Witnesses believe Jesus was a created being, therefore he couldn't have created himself, so all other things were created. But they put brackets around the word other to denote that they did add the work. So they were a little bit forthright here in showing, here it goes on to say there's 5 times here, all other things, it's before all other things, and by means of him the other things were made to exist. So actually, I think there's six times here. So they were relatively forthright. And if you go, this is a 1984 version of the New World Translation. Here it shows other in brackets, all other things in brackets, showing that that word was added to the scriptures. Now here's an interesting point. When the silver sword came out, the word other in Colossians is no longer in brackets. So what Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. Let's go to Colossians 1 here. So when you get to all things were created, all other things, the word other is no longer in brackets. Kind of interesting. So now the reader that doesn't know that this word was added, the reader reads the New World Translation out of the silver sword and thinks that all other things was in the actual Greek scriptures when it was not. Something to consider there. Well, I just checked, and these interlinears are available on eBay now, but they're getting very scarce. So if you want one, they're going to cost you about $50 on up. So, but worth having in your library, especially to show the new generation of Jehovah's Witnesses this book and point out to them why it was removed from the Kingdom Halls. Well, that's it for now. And until next time, just like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you on the next video.